If you want a more challenging pet than a fish, frog, or toad, make a fine choice. First-time owners are afforded a terrific learning opportunity with these amphibians. What's even more appealing is that these aquatic creatures are less expensive than other types of pets, are easier to care for, and are pleasant to look at as well. Each frog has particular needs and requires a unique diet and set of husbandry mandates. Frog care covers a spectrum of difficulty, so it's important for beginners to choose an appropriate species for them, as there will certainly be differences between maintenance and affordability between different species. With that in mind, let's talk about 17 of the most popular frog pets for beginners. White-lipped tree frog. The white stripe that extends from their bottom lip to their rear legs gave these vivid green frogs their name. They're the biggest tree frog on Earth and are endemic to Australia and New Guinea. They're bigger than other species on this list, averaging 4.3 to 5.5 inches in length. Their size requires that they have at least 23 cubic inches of space to live in, as well as a lot of climbing surfaces. The white-lipped frog is popular with beginner owners due to their exotic status and distinctive look. While they make great pets, their downside is they're not as hardy as some of the other frog breeds. But when taken care of consistently and attentively by a novice owner, the white-lipped tree frog can thrive and live happily in captivity. With good care, they can live between 10 and 15 years and could be purchased for as low as $30. White's tree frog. The White's tree frog is smaller than its white-lipped cousin, growing to between 3 and 4 inches long, colored with a stunning silver-green hue. This frog is excellent for beginners and children. They are calm, resilient, and simple to care for. They've also been known to reside in artificial settings like water tanks and bathrooms. White's tree frogs are an excellent choice for anybody who likes to handle their pet because they are naturally quite docile and tolerant of being held. While such interaction and engagement is stimulating, mere observation of these little creatures is equally intriguing. They can control their internal temperature by evaporating moisture from their skin. They can live for as long as 12 to 16 years and could be purchased somewhere in the $40 to $80 range. Waxy monkey frog. This species has a white belly and white stripe and is a vibrant shade of green. The waxy monkey frog and the white-lipped frog share many similar features, but the former is from South America while the latter is from Australia. Due to its vivid green coloring, waxy appearance, and propensity to rest in leafy branches, this species is occasionally referred to as a leaf frog. Their skin is protected from drying out by a waxy layer, also adding to their namesake. Native to the Amazon rainforest, the waxy monkey frog favors a humid habitat. Considering their size, about 2 to 3 inches, they need a 20-gallon aquarium with glass walls for them to scale. They may be pretty entertaining to watch, but because they dislike being handled, they make a suitable pet frog for novices who like to observe rather than interact with their animal. The waxy monkey frog has a lifespan of about 6 to 8 years and can be acquired for $60 to $80. Tomato frog. The small orange frog bears a resemblance to a small cherry tomato. Found through a variety of habitats on the Isle of Madagascar, including rainforests and woody coasts, the tomato frog is especially durable, able to adapt well to most settings, allowing it to do well in captivity. They are only 2.5 to 4 inches in length, making them one of the smaller forgotten breeds. They can survive for a decade in captivity with proper care and are fun to watch as they exhibit their propensity for digging in their enclosure. Their charming, vivid coloration and small size make them especially popular. They can be purchased for $20 to $50. Red-eyed tree frog. There are 2 variants of the red-eyed tree frog, but both species have huge red eyes, orange feet, and vibrant green bodies. However, one species is indigenous to the Australian rainforest, whereas the other lives in Central American ones. The Australian variant has orange eyes and horizontal pupils, while the eyes of the Central Americans are deep red and have vertical pupils. Both species' distinctive hues are a favorite among rookie keepers. Red-eyed tree frogs from Central America may coexist in a tank with others from their species, though it isn't advised for the Australian variety. For the former, it is an attractive attribute for those keepers who want to have multiple frogs together. Beginners with attentive husbandry planning can certainly take care of these red-eyed creatures, though they do have some specific care requirements. They only grow to a length of about 2 to 3 inches, live for about 4 years, and can be acquired for $25 to $75. Amazon milk frog. One of the most recently discovered frog species is the Amazon milk frog. The color and pattern of this rainforest species are particularly distinctive, with their mint green colored bodies contrasted dramatically by brown stripes and specks. Their name comes from the white secretions that they release in response to threats. Like other frogs on our list, they can live in groups and are fairly easy to care for, although they don't like to be handled frequently. These interesting creatures cost between $40 and $100, grow anywhere between 3 to 5 inches in length, and can live for about 5 to 10 years in the captivity of an attentive keeper. Pac-Man frog. This species, occasionally referred to as horned frogs, is another species native to the Amazon basin of the South American continent. They can be found in a wide variety of color, ranging from lime green to orange-brown. Named after the iconic video game character, they share a resemblance in the form of their large mouth, which makes up over 50% of their heads. They can grow up to 7 inches in length, making them one of the biggest frogs in existence. Their superior size also allows them to vigorously defend their territory in the wild against perceived intrusions. They have sharp fangs and are prone to aggressive behaviors, so the Pac-Man frogs should always be handled with protective gloves. In captivity, Pac-Man frogs thrive when given the appropriate care. They're great for someone learning how to care for a frog because of how easily they adapt to life in captivity. They live for about a decade, though there have been instances of them lasting up to 12 years. Interested owners can acquire this species for $15 to $50, depending on the place of purchase. Oriental fire-bellied toad. The little vibrant pet frog known as the Oriental fire-bellied toad, due to its bright red belly, has a diet consisting exclusively of insects. The tops of their limbs, heads, and backs are all solid green, while their body is covered in black dots and blotches. Despite being native to Eastern Asia, these toads are often bred in captivity. And while they're simple to care for, novices should be cautious when handling them because they are extremely territorial. Their skin is also venomous, so great care needs to be taken to wash hands thoroughly after handling them. If done without touching anything else, the venom isn't harmful to humans. While this might be a curious choice for a novice keeper's first frog, they make it both simple and informative for keepers who are learning to care for frogs to gain experience. They're small and can be purchased for anywhere between $15 and $25. One notable thing about these frogs, however, is that they can live for up to 3 decades. American green tree frog. This species frequently lives in ponds, streams, and little marshes in the southeastern and central regions of the United States. These little green frogs, which range in size from 1 to 2.5 inches, are excellent for novices who don't want or have room for a big enclosure, as they're happy to live in a 10-gallon tank, though it should be higher than it is wide. Although they don't enjoy handling, they are relatively simple to keep. The amazing thing about taking care of this frog is that it can survive at room temperature and doesn't require extra heating unless the temperature dips below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. They're ideal for novices looking for a small, low-maintenance frog that doesn't entail a 15-year commitment. This species only lives from 2 to 6 years in captivity. This is reflected in their price, as they can be purchased for as little as $10. Gray tree frog. Another North American frog species is the gray tree frog, found all over the United States from as far north as Maine, as far south as Florida, and as far west as Texas. They're very popular and yield important ecological aid since their diet involves consuming and eradicating pestful insects. There are 2 gray tree frog variants: Dryophytes versicolor and Dryophytes chrysocelis. The population of this species may be widespread, but it should still be protected. Therefore, when purchasing them, for about $8 to $20, keepers should do so only from breeders, not acquire them from the wild. Compared to a lot of other frogs on this list, the gray tree frog has significantly more warts. However, they can live happily in a 10 to 20 gallon tank that is tall so that they can climb and jump to their heart's content within its confines. These little guys only grow to about 1 1/4 to 2 inches and live for about 7 to 9 years in captivity. Bumblebee walking toad. Small freshwater ponds and meadows are where you can find the bumblebee walking toad. It's often mistaken for the oriental fire-bellied toad, and it's distinguished by a total lack of green hue on its body. Additionally, they live in parts of Argentina and Paraguay, rather than anywhere on the Asian continent. Their bumblebee moniker is due to their yellow and black legs and back. Overall, this species is one of the best toads for training in husbandry. They are very small, never growing more than 1.5 inches in length, and are happy living in a 5-gallon tank. They're also okay living with other members of their species, which they can do in a 10-gallon one. With great care, they can live for over a decade. They can be purchased for $60 to $90. American toad. American toads can be found all throughout North America, with most of their time spent in moist woodland regions and nearby ponds. This toad is recognizable for its small legs and thick brown skin that is covered with warts. When under stress, their skin frequently becomes brown, green, or yellow. Despite not being as colorful as some others, they make excellent pets, hardy enough to live between 15 and 20 years. The one thing to keep in mind with this toad is that they shouldn't be handled unless completely necessary, as doing so is harmful to both the toad and the keeper. The bufotoxin that these toads are bearing can harm human eyes, while oils from human hands are damaging to the toad's skin. American toads will require a 10-gallon tank with 50% humidity and room-level temperatures to live comfortably. They only grow to about 3 inches and can be purchased for as little as $10. Green and black dart frog. The next frog on this list is a member of the poison dart family. The green and black dart frog are a terrestrial species found in Central and South American rainforests. Typically, these little frogs are green and black in hue, but their coloring isn't for beauty, but rather an issue of a warning to predators about their venomous glands. Sometimes their name discourages beginners from wanting to take them in as a pet, but ironically, they actually make for a great choice for a novice's first frog. These small frogs are as lively as they are entertaining to observe. They often jump around and hunt for food, specifically for ants, their favorite snack. As long as a beginner is aware of the hazards associated with caring for a green and black dart frog, they can be taken care of with relative ease. They only grow to about 1.5 inches in length, have a lifespan of about a decade in captivity, and can be purchased for $40 to $80. African dwarf frog. Southern Africa's ponds and streams are home to the African dwarf frog. They're primarily water-based creatures that will migrate to dry surfaces only when compelled or forced to do so. They are an ideal pet frog for someone who wishes to keep both frogs and fish. As they are largely water-based, coming up to the surface strictly to take a breath, garnering their nickname of dwarf underwater. They are excellent swimmers and do well in a 5-gallon tank with lots of water. Because of their webbed feet and claws, they're also referred to as African clawed frogs. They are very resilient creatures that can survive in captivity for up to 20 years. They're very simple to care for, grow to a length of between 2.5 to 4 inches, and are very inexpensive. Prospective owners can get one for just $4. Bumblebee dart frog. Sometimes known as the yellow-banded dart frog, the bumblebee dart frog resides in a variety of environments across South America, particularly places with ample supplies of pinhead crickets and fruit flies, their favorite meal. These unusual creatures are embellished with black and yellow blotches. They're appealing to a beginner due to their vivid coloring hue, Unlike the bumblebee toad mentioned earlier, this species is a poison dart frog. They require basic husbandry as long as they're not handled much, certainly simpler than their green and black cousins. Bumblebee darts thrive in a 10-gallon tank with temperatures between 75 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit and strong humidity. If you don't keep the humidity level above 90%, it will be hard to maintain their optimal health. The bumblebee dart frog only grows to about 1.5 inches. They can live for as long as a decade and be acquired for $45 to $80. Burmese chubby frog. The Burmese chubby is a large Asian frog and is occasionally referred to as an Asian painted bullfrog. Their plump look makes them appealing to novice owners who are looking to have a cute pet. They don't require a lot of room either, so they can live comfortably in a 10-gallon aquarium, not requiring much room. This is the pet for you if you want one that's easy to care for overall, making the Burmese chubby a great starter pet. A well-attended to Burmese chubby could live up to a decade, growing only 2 to 3 inches in length. It quickly adapts to new surroundings and can be acquired for a beginner-friendly price between $10 and $35. African bullfrog. One of the most unique amphibians in the world is the African bullfrog, which is often found fascinating for its distinctive behaviors and size. One of its most unique mannerisms is that it spends the majority of the year underground. Also known as pixie frogs, largely due to their scientific name Pixycephalus adspersus, they are bigger than many other frogs, with males growing up to as long as 10 inches, the larger of the two genders. Their size presents one of the only challenging aspects of keeping an African bullfrog, as it required nothing smaller than a 20-gallon tank. Outside of that, the species is docile and will even tolerate occasional handling. When cared for accordingly, the bullfrog can survive for as long as 35 years, so taking care of one is a long-term commitment. They can be purchased in the $25 to $75 price range. Not only do frogs and toads make great pets, but they also yield their keepers a terrific way to care for an animal. You should do your homework on the best species for your lifestyle before purchasing one, of course. Frogs come in more than 3,000 varieties, each with a unique temperament and set of husbandry requirements. And as we've explained, some will be particularly suitable for novice owners, while others not as ideal as starter pets. The decision ultimately comes down to the type of frog or toad you're interested in.